So, hi guys, I hope everybody's having a great day today. Hope we're having a good holiday season. And I have a delicious recipe we're doing. So we're doing cranberry pistachio stuffed squash. It's so good. Give you guys a peek. I did two versions, one with some shredded mozzarella on top and then one without. So you can kind of get your idea. It's still super healthy, yummy, pretty easy. There's just some little preps and stuff that we got to do. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. So I went ahead, we're doing acorn squash, but you guys could do butternut squash, the delicata squash. So there's a few difference. Just you might have to adjust the cooking time, but so I'm telling you guys how to do it with acorn squash. So I did cheat a little bit. I already cut my guy in half and give you guys a little bit of a tip so they don't wobble. The one in that has that little tip like that, we just want to cut off just a little bit. You don't want to go too deep, otherwise you might cut through and make a hole in your bowl, because the whole idea is you're going to eat this too and have a bowl. It's going to hold everything. So it's really maybe like 1/8 of an inch, and it'll just make it sit nice and flat for you guys. And then we're going to scoop the seeds out so it looks like this, guys. So I'm just going to show you. It's actually, they come out pretty easy. It's even easier than when you do a pumpkin, for sure. And you can save the seeds and roast them. They are really good like that. You know, put them on a pan with a little bit of oil and salt like you do pumpkin seeds. Super good, really good for you. It's loaded with lots of omegas and good stuff. So that's why I am saving mine, because I'm going to roast mine up for something later. Or it'd honestly be really good on top of this too. So that's an idea for something extra to do. So now that we got these bad boys, we are going to brush them with just a little bit of oil, or if you guys want to do a no oil recipe, just a little bit of maple syrup. I don't know why I said that word. Maple syrup will work perfect here too, because you want to get a little bit of that caramelization going on, and you want the salt and pepper we're going to put on there to stick to it. Otherwise, I'm actually using a grapeseed oil today, because this one does really well at high temps, and it's really healthy and yummy, and it's been the new one I've been using a lot. So we're just going to brush the insides and top with a little bit of oil. You can definitely do coconut oil, olive oil, any oils will definitely work here. We're just going to brush it. We don't need a lot, just enough that it's going to get a really yummy flavor. I feel like I'm going to steal a little bit from this one, so there's enough on this one. So there you go. You see a little bit of shine in there. We're not really putting much. It's probably not even a teaspoon. That's why I just kind of drizzle a little bit on my brush. And then next, we're going to sprinkle it with just a little bit of sea salt. Or I have the Himalayan pink sea salt, which is one of my favorites to cook with. And then we're going to do a little bit of crushed black pepper without getting it everywhere. And I'm also going to do a little bit of thyme. And I don't have any fresh thyme amazingly in the house. My plant died, so did my rosemary. So I'm just doing some ground thyme, and we're just going to sprinkle a little bit on there. Then we're going to, should also tell you guys, should be doing 3 of these. So you'd be getting 6 halves is what this recipe is good for. So go ahead and do the other 2. And then we're going to put these on a baking sheet, cut side up, and we're going to bake them at 400 for about 30 to 45 minutes. Mine took 45, but I would check them at 30. You do want them to be fork tender, and they will start to look like this. Get the ones that I have done. So when they are done, they start to look like this. You can tell the color's changed a little bit. They've gotten a little softer. Definitely fork tender. You can see the outsides, you know, they've changed a little bit. And then now we get to the good stuff. So while you have your squash baking, we go ahead and make our quinoa, because that's one of our other main ingredients going in here. And we're going to do 1 cup of quinoa to 1.5 cups, or you know, whatever's on your packaging. That's what mine said, so that's how I cooked it. And then we're going to get it nice and fork tender. And then you can even do this still in the same pot that you're cooking it in. But for stirring factor, I like to get a medium-sized bowl and dump that on in there. And then just wait about 5 minutes so it's not super, super hot. And then now let's go ahead and add in all our stuff to make this just really delicious. So obviously I told you guys cranberries. So we're doing dried cranberries, and we're going to do 3/4 cup. And if you can find the unsweetened are good. I actually do like the sweetened ones, so that's what I am using. I feel like the sweetness just, it goes really well with these flavors, and it's not a lot, so just a little bit's really good. And the next main thing is we're doing pistachio nuts. We're going to do 3/4 cup of that. Honestly, you can even do more if you guys want, because I love my pistachios, so there's nothing wrong with doing a whole cup here. And then next, we're going to do 1 can of chickpeas or garbanzo beans, and you want to rinse them, drain them, and then I'm going to give you guys a little tip. I'm going to show you. So I like to lay mine out on a towel while they dry, and then as they dry, you start to get this little skin that you can pop off without smashing it. So see this little skin that comes off? This actually makes them more bitter, and honestly, I thought I didn't like chickpeas until I started taking this off, and it makes them so much better. And if you're putting in something where they puree, it helps make it a lot smoother because you don't have that skin getting in the way. So, you know, just roll them out, try to get them off. I know it's a little bit of a pain, but trust me, it makes the flavor so much better. So we're going to do a can of that. Next, we're going to do 1 small shallot, and we're going to just dice that up nice and fine. Where'd my spoon go? I swear I had a spoon. Oh, it's already in there. And the shallots are really good because it's not a very strong onion flavor, just a nice flavor. But if you guys don't have shallots or don't want to use shallots, just a regular red onion would be really good here. But I would only do about 1/4 cup if you're going to do regular onion. And then next, we're going to do 1 clove of garlic, nice and minced. Because again, we want a little bit of this flavor, but we don't want anything to be overpowering. We want to make a nice mix with this palette that's just going to go really, really yummy. Next, we're going to do a 1/2 cup of fresh chopped parsley. And for this one, I really would recommend doing fresh. The dried just doesn't give the right flavor to me. It's just not quite the same. So go ahead and go to the store and get a bunch of parsley. And I use the Italian, not the curly leaf. And we're going to do a cup, 1/2 cup of that. Almost said a cup. You could do a 1/2 cup, then you might get a little overpowering on the parsley flavor. And then next, we're going to just sprinkle in a little bit of salt. We're going to sprinkle in some pepper. Don't really measure here. It's maybe a teaspoon of each, just enough for some flavor. And then we're also going to do some just dried Italian seasoning, like I told you guys, because most of my plants are not surviving right now. So we're just going to do about a teaspoon of that. And then a little bit of dried rosemary, or fresh if you have that. Oop, that's not the rosemary. This is maybe 1/2 teaspoon of the dried rosemary, or if you're doing fresh, I do a teaspoon. And then again, if you guys want to do this as a no oil recipe, you can either skip this step or drizzle with a little bit of maple syrup, but I'm just going to drizzle it with a little bit of the grapeseed oil again, and maybe just like a teaspoon. I'm not really putting much, just enough that it helps those chickpeas bake up and get a little crispy while they are in those squash. Just going to give this a nice stir. Make sure everything kind of gets mixed around. And you see just those beautiful colors. It's very holiday to me. It's very festive. I love when dishes have a lot of colors and you have greens. And I used a tricolor quinoa in this, so that to me really helps with the presentation. But if you guys, you can do the white, red, tricolor. So just a nice little toss there. Give you guys a, without spilling it everywhere, that would have been a disaster. Give you guys a peek at what we're looking with. Now, honestly, sometimes I make this up just on its own and don't stuff it in the squash. This is a really good salad on its own, but we're going to go ahead and stuff it with our squash. So here are the ones I showed you guys just a second ago that had been baking in the oven. And if these had just come out, I would let them cool for about 5-10 minutes, so that way they're not really hard to handle. But everything should time up just about right. If you cooked your quinoa when you first put your squash in and then mixed it up, and everything should be ready to go. So it should be a very streamlined process for you. Or if you guys are going to be having company, you know, the next day and you want to get some things prepped, this is definitely something you can do the next day. Just don't do the last bake that I'm going to tell you guys about. But before we get there, let's go ahead and stuff our squash. I like to pad mine in there just a little bit because I try to get as much as possible. Overheat a little bit, but not too much that, you know, you can't eat it. So there we go. There we got it before. We're going to bake it again. Let's go ahead and do the next one. And another tip for you guys too, try to find squash that are about the same size. It'll just make it a lot easier for cooking time, and then nobody feels left out if somebody gets the really small piece and somebody gets the really big piece. So there is that one. Wipe my fingers off. And then what I like to do is one more idea. It's really not going to make it unhealthy, but it helps with the flavor. But sometimes I don't. Is we're going to sprinkle a little bit of vegan mozzarella cheese, and I have that one from Trader Joe's. I've talked about a few times. So we're just going to do this one, and just a little bit. You don't want a lot. And I stick with the mozzarella on this because I don't want the flavor getting in the way. To me, the mozzarella just really mixes well with the other flavors that you have going on. And then after we're done with this part, pop it back in the oven at 400, should still be hot. And we're going to bake these for just about 10 minutes until the inside just gets nice and warm. And you'll notice, I'm over and give you guys an idea. It just crisps up just a little bit more. Those chickpeas get a little crispy, and it's so, so good. And then one more thing I like to do with mine before I serve it is just a little bit of sprinkle of green onion on the top. It just helps with the color, and the flavor goes well. It's not too overpowering, but just a little bit if they'll stay on there. And then we can also do some fresh parsley because, you know, we have parsley on there. And just look how pretty that presentation is, guys. And honestly, this is what I'm having for lunch. I can't wait to dig into this. It's so yummy. We have lots of proteins packed in here, a lot of fiber, a lot of good nutrients. So honestly, this is a really healthy, filling, delicious meal. It doesn't even have to be a side. I usually just eat the one squash for lunch, dinner, like I'm going to do today. And it's filling. Like I said, it's got lots of protein and really delicious. So I hope you guys try this one. There's lots of variations you can definitely do. You know, instead of pistachios, you could do pecans, walnuts, almonds. Instead of the cranberries, you could even try like oranges and all sorts of different things. Instead of parsley, we could try mint. So there's definitely some fun and some different things you guys could do with this one. So I hope you guys really enjoyed. I'll give you one more peek of this delicious, delicious meal. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Have a great rest of your day. Oh, and don't forget, guys, I still have a couple of stickers and magnets left. If you'd like some, just send me a message. So have a great day, guys, and we will see you next week. Bye.